I could read when I was 4 or 5, so I skipped my first year then.
Yeah.
And then I was also just young, skipped another year, and then I was like, okay, I don't want to go to uni directly. I'm gonna do something in between.
So what age did you finish school? Just so people.
15.
Yeah. So you finished school at 15,
Yeah.
when for most people it's 17 or 18, and then
like couldn't go like directly to uni, or I had no idea what I wanted to do. Saw a degree in like food and lifestyle. Choose that, and it was like a 4-year course, and I did it in 2 years.
Welcome back. We're back recording. We're back here. I'll get our guest in a moment to tell us where we are, but she is someone that if you watched from the start of the season, you would have seen her winning the very first race of the year at Tour Down Under, Stage 1. She won solo there. She is riding for Ceratizit WNT, is that right?
Yeah.
And she is our first Dutch guest on the Train Like a Monk podcast. Daniek Hengeveld, welcome to Train Like a Monk.
Thank you.
Okay, tell us, where are we?
We are in Nice, on Montparon.
Yep.
The extra little loop if you have not enough time on the bike if you live in Nice.
Yep. And what time of day is it? It's, you let us know.
4:30.
Yeah, and why are we recording at 4:30?
Because I had school this morning.
School. What's going on? Why are you at school? You're a professional cyclist.
I know, but I try to learn French after 2 years of living here.
Okay.
I kind of need to understand now more than just bonjour and au revoir.
So your English is obviously basically perfect. I can't notice any difference between you and an English speaker, but I always forget that non-native English speakers like Dutch, Belgians, Germans, whatever, it's not necessarily easy for them to learn another language on top of that once they learn English, because here, especially in Nice, you probably go around and everyone wants to speak to you in English anyway, I imagine.
Yeah, especially with my friend group, everyone is Australian or Irish or don't really need any French.
Yeah, and when your English is that good, you're happy to speak to everyone in English as well.
Yeah.
So with the training, it's end of April now. You've just come off a big classics block. What are you training for now? What was today's session that you've just finished?
Oh, today's session was actually just a start-up again to feel how I feel. I just was sick after Amstel Gold. It was my last race. And now we're building up for the Grand Tours in July.
Okay. Yeah. So what's your first Grand Tour then?
Hopefully Giro.
Yeah.
And I will definitely do the Tour.
Yeah.
So surprise, surprise. And hopefully I also do the Tour because there's a TT on the first day. What I really want to do.
Yeah. So you're a time trial specialist. You've got a lot of results in time trials before, particularly in juniors. I thought I was going to fall. It's fine. Yeah, you've got a lot of time trial results previously. And your first race of the season, I guess, was a time trial. You went off the front with, I think, 45 kilometers to go, which is something we're seeing a lot in the men's peloton now. It hasn't happened so much in the women's peloton. If we talk about the start of the season, your preparation for that, was that something that you had in mind of, I'm going to be targeting trying to win races solo this year? I really want to work on that and start the season by giving myself a chance to do that?
It was definitely a plan to be like in a position that I could win at the start of the season, just to get my confidence back. Because after last year I lost my confidence, so I told my trainer, like, I just want to be actually really good in the first race so that I can mentally also be ready for the races.
Yeah. And so, yeah, you started at Tour Down Under, very first race of the season, when I guess, you finished last season with not so much confidence, and in the back part of the season, it's pretty hard then mentally to turn it around. At what point did you start training for the Tour Down Under at the start of the year? And was it easy, I guess, to just start putting the work in, or did you have to change much to get to the point where you were able to prepare to win a race like that?
Ooh, I did change a lot because I did change trainer, I did change team, and the way of working from my new trainer was just so intense, actually. If I compared with what I did with DSM, was a lot of endurance in November, like actually the start of your preparation for the season. And now I just started, of course, also with endurance, but also already with efforts, like straight up 30-30s and 40-20s.
Yeah. So from the start of the build, like in the middle of the off season.
From the build on, and not like with high powers at all, like basically zone 2 40-20s was sometimes a bit stupid to do, but it really worked.
Yeah, it's really interesting because when I first started, it was very much like off season, you never do anything high intensity. You wait until like a few weeks out from the racing before you're doing anything over threshold. Now I think it's changed a lot. You're not the only one definitely that was doing stuff like 30-30s and 40-20s in November and December, when before that was like no one would do that, or maybe only the really hardcore trainers would even think about it. Is it something that you liked doing, or it was a bit of a chore to go out and do that work then?
Oh, I'm not someone who actually really like long training, so it actually kept my mind off a little bit from the endurance. So
Okay. Yeah.
at the beginning, I was like, oh fuck, like, do I really already need to do like efforts, because I was not used to it. But at the end, if I look back, actually the time went so much faster.
Yeah.
And I got 20 hours and like 25-hour weeks in without even thinking. Like, oh, I did so many hours on the bike.
And it's good to stay focused then, I guess.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, when you took the win at the start of the season in Down Under, then like your big goal, I guess, most years is the classics, from speaking to you previously. Then like, how was it shifting, I guess, from racing in Australia, then coming back over here to Nice? Was it straight back into training, or did you try and have a rest to sort of back off and then build back up, or try and hold the form all the way through till April at your main goals?
My trainer wanted to keep the form, the shape, and like get it through the spring classics. But I think, or at least I know, we made a little mistake there, because I was good at the start of the spring classics, but after Flanders I was just done. And I actually needed to do some more racing. So also, like, reflecting back on that with him last week, we were like, okay, actually I needed a little break after Down Under. Although it sounds weird to have a break in like the end of, or at least the beginning of February. It sounds weird to have some.
Yeah, but I think it's crazy. A lot of people don't understand how long the classics period is. If you start at opening weekend and trying to still be good, even just that block in itself is 6 or 7 weeks, and you went through till the Ardennes just recently. And then, so yeah, then it becomes 8 weeks of trying to hold form while you're racing. It's already difficult trying to hold form just training, being at home without any travel. When you're racing, traveling to and from the races, even just that block, if you go from opening weekend until there, is a long period to try and stay in really top shape. So to go from then the start of January till then is going to be really difficult. And yeah, it's a tricky one, because it isn't that much time to have a break and then come back up. But I think, yeah, like you said, it's good that you can analyze that and go, okay, maybe next year we change something and go a bit differently.
Yeah, it was just also, I think if I didn't crash in Flanders, I maybe also like still could do Roubaix like in good form. I crashed in Flanders, what is almost normal. Like, you will always crash in the classic. So actually you always need to prepare for that as well. But we didn't. And we're like, okay, you need to race Roubaix in 4 days, and then after that you need to go straight to Amstel, and like we didn't really plan the crashes in, let's say it like that.
Yeah, and I almost exactly the same last year, in that it throughout the start of the season quite well when it came to Europe, and then was building, had a crash in E3, and then when you have something go wrong, whether it's a crash or an illness in that classics period, then you're kind of just scrambling to get through the races. And then as soon as you're trying to just get through the races, and then already suddenly the next races come before you've recovered from the race before, you're not able to, you're never feeling good in training because you're recovering from injuries, you're repairing wounds, whatever it is. So it's always really tricky then as soon as you have something go wrong throughout a block like that. And I think a lot of people don't realise that anyone that's performing well in Flanders and Roubaix has to be so lucky up to there to have everything go right and get to that point. It helps when you're in a team that keeps you out of trouble and that kind of thing. But yeah, it's a tricky one. So if we go forward now to usual run of questions. So you're back into the training swing of things. You've got the schedule now of the school every morning. So I guess it'll be good for you. Are you someone that likes to always have that structure and routine, or you prefer to keep changing things up and stay on the move, I guess?
I would say I like to change things, but I am like so not used to having a real structure. Like I think it's something I craved a bit, and that's
Yeah,
why I
okay.
did it now. And I know I have no races, so mentally I'm also not like focused on anything yet. So like this is the perfect time to do something structured and to follow a plan again.
Yep.
Instead of going off to my feeling like, oh, today I'm gonna ride at 10 or 11 or 12. I just know that I need to be at school at 9.
Yep.
We'll be back at 1. Can be on my bike at 2.
And it's pretty good conditions to ride in the afternoons here as well.
It's not bad here at all.
It's not too hot at the moment as well. I'm sure like after you finish your school block, then it'll be pretty warm. But at the moment, it's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so usual run of questions. You're into your training block. What is your favorite training session?
Specific or general?
In general, like for some people, it's not anything where you're hitting the lap button. For others, it's something.
I do like 30-30s.
Okay.
I think I prefer 30-30s over everything.
It's interesting for someone that's a time trialist and like a bit of a diesel. Like you
I know because, I know, but just the 8-minute block feels really like old school.
Yeah.
Like I don't believe in just doing an 8-minute block anymore.
Okay.
And 40-20s are too long. And sprints, I hate sprints.
Okay.
I need to do more sprints, but.
So least favorite training session, would that be sprints then?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And what does a sprint session look like when your trainer gives you sprints?
Probably like 5 sprints every hour or something, and it doesn't really matter where.
Okay.
But it's kind of hard here in these two.
Yeah, here is difficult for sprints because we have big mountains everywhere. So for stuff like 30-30s, it's fine. You point your bike up a hill and then it's okay. But for sprints, you don't get many. It's not like the Netherlands where you've got like a lot of flat roads to choose from because there's not many flat roads here. And then you also don't get many roads where you get a nice kicker into an uphill to put out the power. So it is difficult. What would be your favorite training loop?
I really enjoyed actually the other side of Nice. Everybody who's riding in Nice normally goes to Monaco and Italy, but I like more the side from Vence and Gillet.
Yeah, the west side.
Yeah.
Yeah, and which loop out there is best, or do you change it up each time?
I think the Col du Vence loop.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So any triathletes listening, it's pretty similar to the course for the Nice Ironman 70.3, but yeah, that is a really nice loop. And out there, you just never see cars.
Never, no.
If you go on these climbs that we can see from here, there's always a lot of traffic. They are really nice climbs, but especially in summer, they're pretty busy, but west side, it's super nice.
Yeah.
Now I have to look at my questions because it's been a while since I've actually asked them.
When was the last podcast?
I haven't recorded since Australia, so.
Was Maeve the last one?
No. In Adelaide was a long time ago. No, I was recording from home in Australia, but for all the people that have been messaging me, telling me to record, I was in China where it's genuinely impossible to do anything. So that was more difficult than I thought. And then I've been sick since I got back to Nice, so I haven't been able to do much. But luckily, Nick's here and back from the classics, so we're back rolling. When you have efforts on a ride, do you do them at the start or at the end, or you spread them out?
In training speak, it said that I need to do them like throughout my ride, but normally I postpone them to the end.
Really?
Yeah.
You just roll around first and then...
Yeah.
What's the theory behind that?
The boring part and then just straight back home after
Yeah,
the
once
less
you're
effort.
done. Yeah, it is nice here once you're done because we're always downhill to get home. So yeah, if you finish the efforts and then can just roll straight back in, then it's nice that way. Are you someone that sticks to the plan no matter what, or do you change it up if you feel like it?
I change it up when I feel like it.
Okay, so you change up the day, like you'll swap days around, or halfway through a ride you'll decide, actually I don't want to do this session today, I'll do it a different day.
I don't really swap days, but I do other efforts. Like I think I call my trainer like maybe twice a week in the training. Like, oh, I don't feel like this, or oh, I feel really good. Can I do more?
Yeah.
That doesn't really happen that much, but.
Do you do your training solo or with a group?
I started riding with the boys here from Nice this year.
Yep.
But before that, I was always training alone, just with my earpods in. But I start liking riding with people now.
Okay. Yeah. And were you training like alone because you preferred it before, or just because you'd just moved here and you hadn't met anyone yet?
Both, I think. Like I also didn't really like make the effort to try to train with someone.
Yeah.
And I was also quite specific with my trainings in that time when I was riding for DSM.
Yeah.
Like it was so specific that I actually couldn't really train with people.
Yeah.
And if I did, I didn't want to be annoying for them.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. If you've got a really busy session, I call it, when there's a lot of efforts in there, then if you're training with other people, then if you're every climb doing efforts and then the descents here, you're riding behind each other anyway, so then there's no actual point. But it is nice here. We've got a good group of us here to train with now, so it's nice when you can tee up to train with other people. When it's raining, which is pretty rare here, but being from the Netherlands, it probably happens a lot. Are you someone that goes on the trainer, or do you just go outside in the rain?
Just go outside in the rain, wear your jacket on and just go.
Here as well? You just go out in the rain?
Well, it was raining the last few weeks here.
Yeah.
So I did all my Rico rides in between the races in the rain with the rain jacket on.
Yeah, okay. Probably on Cap Ferrat behind us,
like
yeah?
so many loops of Cap Ferrat.
Yeah. It's this just behind us here it's funny, like almost every day that it's raining, it's the only place that isn't raining. Obviously sometimes you get unlucky and it's still raining there, but it's probably the driest part of Europe, so yeah.
And flattest part here in Nice, so it's also the place where you do all your sprints.
Yeah, so I guess if you're doing a lot of Rico rides and some sprints, then you were doing a lot of laps of there. When you're training, are you someone that likes to stop, or no stops until you get home?
Stops almost every day.
Okay. Even by yourself?
Yeah.
Okay. So cafe always, or you just like to sit on the side of the road, or?
No, always cafes or boulangeries.
Okay.
If I'm with a group, I'm fine like stopping here in La Turbie or in Nice. And if I'm alone, I normally like stop in like a little bit further away because I'm alone. But
yeah, okay. Do you plan it out at the start of the ride? Do you go, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. It's good to plan the loop that way. I do the same sometimes. Sometimes you have to here because some of the bakeries that are the best ones will have the weirdest opening hours.
Yeah.
Like the one in Gillette, which...
always closed on Wednesday.
Yeah, always closed on Wednesday, and then also always closed from 1 p.m. until 4 p.m. or something like that. So you have to plan it well. Going on food, what would be your favorite training food?
Dutch snelle jelles. I don't know if you know it.
I don't know.
It's like a Dutch cookie that I always bring here.
Better than a stroopwafel?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say for riding, yeah.
Yeah. Stroopwafels aren't super great for riding, but...
they're round, they don't fit in my pocket.
Yeah, you can fit the small ones in, trust me. I've done it before. Before training, what's your breakfast?
Normally oats, banana, peanut butter. But I'm mixing it up with baguette now.
Okay, you get a fresh baguette in the morning?
Yeah, go for a little walk.
Nice.
Get my fresh baguette and then...
And then after the ride, what's your favorite thing after a long ride here when you get back in the door? Or do you stop at a boulangerie so you don't need to worry?
Oh, I do both. Some were yogurt bowls because it's fresh. And now I'm like hyper fixated on eggs and just the bread that I have left over from the morning.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it then. Then you just get a fresh baguette in the morning, half of it for breakfast, half for lunch.
It's actually insane that you eat like 7 baguettes a week then.
Yeah.
I do.
But it's funny because you hear stories about old French people doing it, and then you come here and then, yeah, all of us after, at least once you've been here for a year, you start doing the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just every morning to the boulangerie for a baguette.
It's also Megan, her routine, isn't it?
Yeah, Megan's exactly the same. It's lucky I don't have to even walk to the boulangerie because she just comes in with the fresh bread. She's the breadwinner. One thing I wanted to touch on, you have a nutrition degree, right?
I do.
So talk us through that. How did you manage to fit getting that in? Because you turned pro cycling very early. So how did you get a nutrition degree before becoming a pro cyclist?
I actually, if I look back, I don't even know. I was so busy when I was younger, but I also skipped some years of school when I was really young.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't, like my parents were both teachers, like both very smart people. So school was so important. So I was always working for school, and then I could read when I was 4 or 5. So I skipped my first year then.
Yeah.
And then I was also just young, skipped another year. And then I was like, okay, I don't want to go to uni directly. I'm going to do something in between.
So what age did you finish school? Just so people...
15.
Yeah. So you finished school at 15,
Yeah.
when for most people it's 17 or 18. And then
like, couldn't go like directly to uni, or I had no idea what I wanted to do. Saw a degree in like food and lifestyle. Choose that. And it was like a 4-year course, and I did it in 2 years. But this was also because it was COVID.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
if I'm like focused on something, I just want to have it done.
Yeah.
I did enjoy it, but I thought my classmates were a bit stupid, and I was just like, I can do this better. Worked harder, and worked also next to it in a bakery, and I was just working, studying, writing, and because it was COVID, that was also the only thing I could do.
Yeah.
So
And there wasn't much racing on then.
yeah.
And
So I finished at 17
yeah,
with my degree.
a degree at 17. That's crazy. And do you think it's something that you do after your cycling career? Is use that degree, or you don't know?
I will definitely use it, but it's not my
I guess it's something you use every day in your cycling career, for sure.
But I don't want to be a nutritionist or anything. I do want to do something with food, because I also have the papers to be, how do you say it, a chef? Not a chef.
Work in the kitchen.
Yeah, work in the kitchen papers.
Yeah.
So I want to do something with that when I'm older.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna say my secret, because otherwise people will steal my, my ID.
You have to follow Daniek to stay up to date for that one. Do you do any training low carb, or are you always well fueled?
I did in November my first low carb training. Ever.
Wow.
Ever.
Because I guess you came in probably after the big low carb phase in cycling, and you had a nutrition degree, which would probably save you from doing too much stupid stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I did stupid stuff when I was 16, but like I don't really count it as training. Like I take training serious since I'm 18.
Yeah.
So since then, no. And I tried it once because I have a really old trainer now, really good trainer, but he's really like the old thing, so also low carb. And I was riding for 2 hours, and I had like a low carb breakfast, and I already felt shit, and I was like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
So I stopped at like the first boulangerie after 2 hours, and I called my trainer. I was like, I'm not doing this. This is not for me. I'm sorry.
I've seen that many times here from one of our training partners who loves to tell you for the first hour of the ride that he's training low carb, and then when we stop at boulangerie, then he buys about 2 loaves of bread and eats them all there. But yeah, it's funny, one and done for you for the low carb stuff.
Yeah.
So, do you do any cross training off the bike? So any running, gym stuff, hiking, anything like that?
I do like to run really slow and not long. Like I'm not doing a 20K run on Cap Ferrat, but yeah, I do like to run, especially now when I'm not racing. But when I'm racing, no, then only like riding and resting.
I saw on Strava you did a small run the other day.
Yeah, I start running now again, like because I know I have no races and I can build it up again. And also still on the bike, I'm not riding that much.
Yeah.
And I'm waking up early anyway, so it's just also just to have like I'm not even looking at my Strava how fast I'm running.
Yeah.
I just do it on feeling.
Yeah, I think that's a big one, because so many cyclists are used to looking at the numbers for the rides, and then there's a bit of an ego thing as well, like I'm an athlete, I should be fast. Like I should be able to run 4-minute Ks or 3:30 Ks or something like that. And then actually then if you're wasting all of that effort in a random run that you're doing in the morning one day, then you have less that you can actually put out on the bike. So yeah, I think it's good to, definitely something that's good to do, but not necessarily to focus on and in the way that it's going to take away from your riding.
No, it's just when I feel like it, and now especially because it is such nice weather now, like it's like 17, 18 degrees in the morning.
Yeah.
Just get some fresh air.
Yeah, and you have about 500 people to run with every morning on the promenade.
Yeah.
Here. It's always, runners everywhere. Okay, we're going to do the rapid fire round now. So this is would you rather, one thing or the other. And try to keep it quick, but
Okay.
if there's any interesting answers, we'll get into it. Aero or lightweight?
Aero.
Yeah, your bike's looking pretty on the aero side here. Disc or rim brake?
Disc.
Did you ever ride a rim brake bike?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not that young.
Not that young. Tubeless or clincher tire?
Tube.
The saddlebag or frame bag? Or handlebar bag?
No bag. I always forget it.
Oh,
But
you have a saddlebag on there now.
because I made this mistake too many times.
Here?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I get here. You're lucky. You always have people riding fast, but it's not what you want to have to do. And you got some chunky tires on there, so hopefully they shouldn't puncture too much. Socks over or under leg warmers?
Over.
Over. Interesting. Why? It just looks better. You
Looks
think?
better.
Okay. That's one of the first ones to say that.
I know.
Gloves or no gloves?
No gloves.
Even when you're racing, no gloves?
Racing gloves.
Okay.
Training, no gloves.
Yeah. Roubaix, gloves or no gloves?
I was wearing gloves, but didn't really work.
Blisters.
Yeah.
People have tried to tell me that no gloves you don't get blisters, but
That's bullshit.
I've seen no gloves people get worse blisters.
Yeah. It's just how you hold your handlebar. It's just if you hold it loose, it would be less. But
Yeah. It's hard to hold it loose on those cobbles. Heat or altitude training?
none. I never did altitude. I will go on altitude next month for the first time.
Okay.
And I don't like heat training.
Well, you're in the wrong place if you don't like heat training, because all of summer here you don't have a choice.
I go on the bike at like 6:30.
Yeah, actually.
I'm rolling back into Nice when you are leaving.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I guess if you get out that early, it's still pretty warm.
It's
and
still
pretty
warm.
humid here.
Yeah.
Town sign sprints or QOM hunting?
QM hunting.
You don't like town sign sprints?
I do, but I don't know if you remember the crash from Amy Peters a few years ago.
Yeah.
Since then, I was on the training camp. I can't. I just rather don't do it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Early morning training or pro hours? We just talked about
Early
this.
morning.
Yeah, except now you're doing neither. You're doing afternoons.
I'm doing evening hours.
Yeah,
after work hours.
Yeah. Recovery day. So when you have an easy day, do you prefer recovery spin or complete day off?
Recovery spin, but not longer than an hour.
Yeah. It's perfect to do one lap of cap for out then.
Yeah. Sometimes it takes me longer than an hour though.
Or then it's really a recovery spin. Pasta or rice?
Rice.
Sweet or savory?
Sweet.
Would you prefer to ride with a half wheeler or a wheel sucker?
Wheel sucker. I get so annoyed by people that half wheel me.
Okay, there's a lot of wheel suckers around here though. A lot of people.
I'm almost used to it.
Yeah. Here.
I'm like average man pace. Like if you're a guy,
This guy riding past right now.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Like the guys here, the pro guys, are too fast uphill for the average cyclist here. But I'm just uphill. The average 35, 40-year-old map wearing guy.
Yeah.
So yeah,
they
I'm
just
used
jump
to
straight
it.
on the wheel and then they're stuck there. But you'd be able to drop them on the descent, I imagine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, then it's okay. A squeaky disc brake or a creaky bottom bracket? Which would you prefer?
I already have a creaky bottom bracket.
Okay, so you prefer that to the squeaky disc brake? Yeah. You've just drowned it out now?
Yeah, just put your music a little bit louder.
Yeah. And would you prefer to be completely hunger flat or severely dehydrated?
a little bit dehydrated, I think. I
Okay.
think if you're like hungry on the bike, like completely empty, you won't get far.
Yeah, that's true. Well, here we're pretty lucky. There's taps a lot of places
Well,
as well.
not if you go up west.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
they're
made
right.
that mistake a few times.
You have to know where they are.
Yeah, true.
And just also sometimes they just turn them off in summer, which is
Really?
or when it doesn't rain for 2 weeks, there's no water coming through. So
Oh.
you got to be careful for that. All right, very last question. Best piece of advice. Might be something that you've heard from someone, or something you want to give to someone, or something you would give to 16-year-old Daniek finishing her nutrition degree.
Keep on working, I think. It will be fine. But yeah, how do I say it in one sentence? Keep on working, but take the time. Like I like to be like, even like after my crash from last year, I'm like, the first day after my surgery, I'm like, okay, it's glow up season, you know, like I need to be better again. Or after my win, I was already thinking about how I'm gonna keep the jersey. Like I always want to be like on top and like be the best and be better. Even I'm actually never really like look back on like, oh, I just achieved this.
Yeah. I think that's a really good one, because it's natural, like for us, we're always looking for like, what's the next race? What's the next thing to do? You're also always wanting to improve, but it's something that I say to a lot of people that I work with, that you work so hard to get to a goal. Like you haven't been in the sport that long, but you worked really hard for your first World Tour win. It's something that took years and years and years of work. And then, yeah, you don't want to get to that point and then immediately think, I need to hold the jersey tomorrow, or I need to also get a win in the classics and all of these things, rather than actually appreciating not even just the result. I think you really need to appreciate the result in that, but also appreciate the work that you did to get there.
Yeah.
Is a big thing, because there's so much work that goes in. And then the other thing is, when it goes badly, it's so easy to focus on that for a long time. So something can go badly and then you spend weeks thinking about it. And yeah, like obviously if you have a bad crash or get treated like how you did it at times last year within your team, then it's easy to think about all of those things. And if you spend the whole time thinking about that, rather than when something good happens, thinking about that, then yeah, if you're always focusing on those tough times, those negative bits, it can become quite a tough sport to stick at. But yeah, when you get a good result, when something goes really well, like it did for you, then I think it's a really great piece of advice to focus on that when it happens.
Yeah. Cool.
Nice. Well, thanks so much for coming on. Thanks.
Thank you to have me.
Thanks to and thanks to Montbron for hosting us. We had
no wind this day.
Yeah, we had a nice display of public affection the whole time, which we didn't get it. It wasn't in the camera shot. They're gone now finally.
Maybe you will hear it.
Yeah, you might hear it on the back of the mics, but that was good concentrating from both of us, I think, to get through that. But no, thanks very much. Good luck for the training coming up. Good luck for the next goals. And thanks everyone for listening. Hope you liked it. Like, share, subscribe, give Daniek a follow, and see you for the next episode. Thanks.
Thank you.
Perfect.